Hello and welcome along to episode 77 of the Don Michele sponsored A View from Section C. I said it correctly this week. Senior, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks off, a long 2 weeks off for us.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll touch on all that later on. But yeah, how you doing? You all right?
I'm okay. Getting there,
Good.
So, yeah, just got to go on with it, have you?
Yes, indeed. I see you're wearing your Pittsburgh stuff this week.
Wearing my Pittsburgh stuff, yeah.
Is
did
that
you watch last night's game?
Your pal?
No,
I'm just wondering if that's because you beat your pal on Sunday for Nottingham.
No. Did you see the own goal they scored last night?
No.
Oh, so they were on the power play, right? Jarry's on the bench. Latang's got the puck. Drop passes it to Malkin. Malkin misses it, goes right in the goal.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Crosby's just standing on the ice with his stick against his helmet like that. Brilliant. His head.
Brilliant. Well, I've got Ottawa gear back on because we are starting to win games and we are going to win the cup. That's it. I've decided it's happening.
Okay.
Saints are winning the cup.
Well, I'll give you a scoop here. Penguins are not winning the cup, and the Penguins are not making the playoffs. There you go.
Good. I'm fed up seeing them in it. Yeah. Anyway, we have a special guest this week, Senior. I did say that obviously with last week's episode being cancelled, we were going to get someone on the show to make up for our lack of efforts, according to Mama Betty. Now, I'm not going to list all the teams. However, this man does deserve some form of introduction looking at the resume. It's off the charts, off the scales, this one. So, former assistant coach, and I'm going to look away because there's a list here. Former assistant coach in the NCAA, in the AHL, and former assistant coach in the NHL. Assistant coach in Finland and Switzerland. Team Latvia, Team Poland, probably the biggest one here, Team Canada. Head coach, now Senior, you're going to love these two teams. Head coach in the CHL of the Amarillo Gorillas, former Stars player Jeff Marshall's team, where we signed him from. Head coach in the QMJHL with the Moncton Wildcats, formerly Nick Riopel. And obviously numerous stints across Europe as head coach of Poland, in Slovakia, Romania, Italy, Austria, Germany, and now, unfortunately, in Fife. Our guest is none other than the Fife Flyers head coach, Mr. Tom Coolen. Tom, welcome along to the show.
Hi, guys. That was quite an introduction.
Listen, it's very nice resume until, unfortunately, it says Fife. But we won't hold it against you.
Okay.
We never hold that against anybody, Tom. You're okay.
Right.
But,
no problem here, boys.
That is a very impressive resume you have, Coach.
Well, I've been at it a long time, and the one thing you didn't mention, and really, I was a university coach for a long time in Canada, and that's when I kind of really got my earned my stripes, I'd say, with coming. I spent a couple of years in the NCAA, but then I went to the head coach at Acadia University, where we've sent guys all over the world, and we were we built our program to a point where we are a real force in the country, and we were the best team in Canada for maybe 4 or 5 years, and at Acadia University, and then I also coached University of New Brunswick, which is the best program in Canada now, and they've won the national championship after national championship. They're an unbelievable production line of quality players. So I've had the fortune to coach at 2 top level schools, and the one thing I find is that I've spent 15 years as a university coach, I think, and people underestimate the quality of the game there. But really, when you look at some of your top guys here, they've all jumped right out of university. For example, a guy like on our team, Troy Lejeunesse, is a pretty solid player in our league, and he's right out of the University of Prince Edward Island. And Kyle Osterberg was right out of the University of Minnesota, and then he came right over here and played for a few. He's played here since, but the quality of the game is quite high. Outside of the actual professional leagues like the American Hockey League and the East Coast League and the NHL itself. So I just wanted to mention that. I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time there.
Because Dundee have tried the same in previous seasons, Tom, where they went with some guys straight from university.
Yeah,
I think last season, we probably overloaded too much with guys coming out of university, and we didn't surround them with enough sort of experienced pros to guide these guys along.
Without a doubt. It's a fine balance to have a good team and in a good league. Like this is a good league. And that balance to be competitive every night. I mean, you have to hit it right. And that's, me in my first year here. I've learned a lot. And I take it all in, and moving forward, if that's the plan, then I think I can be more like we got a lot of hockey to play yet, and things have gone pretty well. But it just bodes well for me for the future, because now that I've seen what we're up against, I think I can build a better team.
Yeah. And obviously you kind of mentioned university hockey there, and we Flyers and the Stars, and God, senior, you'll be able to maybe remember this, however many years ago it was, we actually hosted the Concordia Stingers over here.
Oh, did you really?
So Concordia came over for 2 games, and they absolutely blew us out the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Oh. Because Concordia, I think they've been pretty good in the last few years, but over the last 25 or 30, they were never, in my opinion, a team that was a dominant team. But, that's just, I'm not saying they weren't a good team, but they weren't a dominant team. And in their league that they're in, there was always the University of Quebec at Three Rivers, which has been a very, very good program in Quebec. They had a lot of solid, and McGill University's been very good too. A lot of good players. But anyway, they, but as you said, Concordia came in and played pretty well against Dundee, did they?
Yeah.
I think
they must have played
years ago now.
Okay, only 6. I think they've been pretty good. And did they play Fife as well?
Yeah.
You say?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think it was in the days, Tom, where it wasn't the Stars and Flyers were not stacked with imports. I think we maybe only played about 2 or 3 imports back then.
It was that time.
And then the rest were all the British and the Scottish guys.
Okay, now I can see where that might happen then. But right now, the way the league, the EIHL is, I can't see a Concordia coming in and totally dominating the way the game is now. I think that, I think the league is pretty good, and we can talk about that later, I guess.
Yeah. So, well, looking at your season so far, Coach. Obviously, how have you settled in coming into Scotland? Obviously, we'll firstly touch off with your winning surprises of the local delicacies. You've had your Iron Brew.
I might be here all night.
you just got. I saw on the Flyer socials at the weekend. You got your Smoky, which is where I stay. I stay in Arbroath, and that's where they come from.
Really?
So yeah.
Well, I can
if you're
tell
lucky,
you all about that. Okay, let's
If
start
you're
on
lucky,
that.
I'll bring some on Saturday if you're lucky.
Yeah, hey, I hope I'm really lucky then, because I would love to get another one of those. Let's put it this way. We started out with we've started with Stovey. That was I think the first night, and so I took the Stovey, and I had never had it before, but I checked out the ingredients, and I know how I like to eat various things, and so I took the Stovies home, and no one ever picked up on that, even here. And what I did with the Stovey, I got my frying pan out, and I cooked it some more. Okay.
Okay.
So I kind of grilled it a little more, crispied it up a little bit, and then I ate the Stovey. That's how I did it. And I thought it was very good. So I took a picture of it, sent it back to our media people, and and even though I was told that it was sent out, no one really picked it up on my new and improved Stovey. And I thought they might, because maybe it's only improved in my mind,
Yeah.
So, but the Stovey was very tasty. And then we've passed on a few other things like Iron Brew. I did not know at that time, and I've noticed it everywhere since. But Iron Brew, I wasn't aware of what it actually was. And I'd only been like 2 months into being in Scotland. And anyway, so the Iron Brew was something that I had, and had have some sips of it and everything. That was good. I enjoyed that. That was on my list as one of the nicer things. Then we had, a black block or something like that. It was a kind of no, not blood pudding.
No.
Although we have that back in Atlantic Canada, and in different places, not a lot, but my father used to like the blood pudding when he was he was old timer and all that. He would bring the blood pudding home, and we would have that, and I got to like it, on the few occasions we had it. But it's funny you mention it, because back in Canada, there's a guy that I have bought my cars from over the last 5 or 6 years. And he's from Scotland. He happens to be from Scotland, and he's from up in Aberdeen way. And I said, I happened to drop in for whatever reason before I came. And I said to him, anything you want me to bring you back from Scotland? He said, you know what? I'd love if you brought me back some blood pudding. And I said, well, geez, I'll see what I can do. So that was one, I know it's a big item over here. But anyway, I haven't had it yet here. Okay. But then I've had different things like the little cakes. They're okay. I had macaroons, not that big on. But my favorite so far was absolutely the smoky.
Oh,
the smoky was, I love fish. And they presented me with the smoky. Now, that was after we just beat Sheffield 2-1 in a great game. And I was pretty excited about that. But that took second place, because that's when they gave me that smoky. That jumped right to the top of the list. That smoky hit home, I'll tell you. So I really enjoyed the smoky.
Okay.
And I ate it yesterday, and I was extremely pleased with the smoky.
Well, you know what? I will, because you've come on the show, Tom, I will speak to my wife before we come to the game on Saturday. We will try and bring you up a couple. Okay.
Oh boy.
But I've just messaged my wife, because unfortunately, again, for me, she is a Fifer. Her little brother and her stepdad are Flyers fans. Spencer has one of the drums. But she says, was it a black bun that you had?
That's what I was referring to. Yeah.
So
the black.
It's like
I started to say black. The black bun was pretty good. I thought the black bun, it was Christmas time, and it was kind of the black bun's right up there. But in my mind, Smoky, Stovey, Black Bun are the 1, 2, 3. And then the Iron Brew can jump in there.
Yeah.
The macaroons, no big. I wasn't excited about that. And the other one was kind of a cake that they serve around at Christmas. I wasn't too excited about that either, although I had one today. And
the biggest thing that I've taken out of this is that Sheffield came into Fife last week. You beat them, but you preferred Smokies.
Well, let's put it this way. The fact I had that Smoky really excited me, obviously. And as excited as I was about beating our team beating Sheffield, the Stovey the Smoky, because I was so totally unexpected and something that for me hit right on the head because I really, I love seafood. And I enjoy smoke. I like smoked fish a lot, the right type of smoked fish. And that Smoky is a smoked halibut, isn't it? Or herring? What is it? Smoked what? Or not herring?
Is it haddock?
Smoked haddock.
Pardon me. That's it. It's smoked.
Yeah.
It's smoked haddock. Oh yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. I like smoked mackerel too. I eat it.
Yeah.
I buy smoked mackerel all the time. But smoked haddock, I've never had it.
We'll hook you up. We'll hook you up again this weekend.
It was great. Thank you very much. Okay.
So looking into hockey, how have you settled in? Obviously you've coming in, brand new team for yourself, having to get these guys together.
Yeah.
How do you think the season's went so far? Because it's been a bit kind of up and down for yourselves. You started off really well Challenge Cup.
I find there are some reasons it's been like that, and I'll get into that. But I just find coming in, first of all, when I started the job, it was almost the 1st of June, and I had not, I had an idea about the level of the league, and I know a lot of names and so on. And the team I had coached a few years prior, Katowice, had played in the Continental Cup in Belfast, and I had an idea, what Belfast had and so on. But anyway, I was rather under the gun time-wise to put a team together.
Mm-hmm. So,
I did what I thought I should do, and it really, I would say it had gone pretty well with the team we put together, and we're on the right road. We've competed every night against teams, but then we ran into some things that I've never seen in another league, in any other league that have affected, in my mind, my team's performance. And I'll start with that if you don't mind. Just telling, we were rolling along pretty good. Then all of a sudden, just in the middle of November, or might have been the second week in November, all of a sudden the reality, maybe it's not even a reality, it's just happened for some reason. We went on the road. We played 3 games in five nights, maybe 6 at a stretch, but I think we played 3 games in 5 nights, all on the road, all at least, all at least close to 20 hours on the bus, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And, we were on the bus between 50 and 60 hours, down, back, down, back, down, back. Well, I don't know. I think it took my guys 3 weeks to recover from that. That's how I looked at it. It was just out of the ordinary. I've never been in a league where something like that ever happened. And then that's my biggest complaint. And I don't want to start complaining here yet. I'll get to that. but as far as as far as what, I like and what I didn't like. So that was really tough. But then to surpass even that scenario, which I felt was ridiculous, it just takes so much out of it. Hockey's a tough game. Hockey's a physical game. And I for interest's sake, I looked up, I just threw it out there on the Google. What's the most physically challenging team sport or sport? Yeah. And then, a bunch of stuff came back to me. Well, the first one was boxing. Okay. Boxing's a pretty goddamn tough game.
Yeah.
And, you guys, I think, I've known boxers in my life. Down in where I grew up, there were lots of boxers, and I know how tough it is. Well, at least from the outside, I've looked at it. Mm-hmm. A guy goes in a boxing match, he won't fight for another 6 months in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Well, the next one on the list written was hockey, ice hockey, and we're playing 3 times a week. Like, we're in that little period I referred to.
Yeah.
We're going down back to Guildford, down back to Cardiff, down back to whatever else is down, Newcastle, whatever.
Yep.
We're coming back up. And it's just so hard. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
Like, I look at Dundee went and played Guildford. Or not Guildford. They went and played in Cardiff on, I think, Saturday, and then drove all the way up back home and played on Sunday. Like, my whole thing is, we don't need to do that. Why do we need to do that in this league? Yeah. Like, no other league in the world does that I've seen. Correct me. And I've coached in so many leagues.
Yeah.
And top leagues. I think I've coached in every great league in the world, except the KHL. I never coached in the KHL. And none of the leagues do that, where you have to, on a bus, travel and go down one thing and then drive all night and get back at 6 a.m. and play at 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Crazy. Yeah. And then they have a department of player safety, whatever they call it. Department of Player Safety. What do they call that department? Is it DOPS?
Yeah.
Department of Player Safety. Well, what are they watching? Do they not see this? That the chance of injury greatly increases when players are fatigued? Is that how safe is that?
Yeah,
I think
Tom,
the Department of Player Safety should. Well, I might get in trouble.
Yeah.
I better hold up.
Tom, we've said it for years about the travel and that. I think actually we spoke about it the other week, Senior. The Stars one year had, was it 3 games in 5 days around about the Christmas period of going down to Cardiff, back up to then play, I think it was Clan, to then go down to Belfast 2 days later to come back, and then we played again 3 days later after that.
Yeah.
And it was,
do they not
crazy
see that? Like, what is driving them? Is it money? Like, well, actually, that's what I think it is.
It'll be attendances.
But you tell me. Yeah. Really, if the league, okay, let's just say we went to a Friday, Sunday, or a Thursday, Saturday. How would it totally kill the attendance? Yeah. Or would we educate our fans and that our game is good and that let's build it up or let's market it? Or how about we take a back-to-back, bring Cardiff in for 2 games, for example.
Yeah.
Is it going to totally kill the attendance that Cardiff came up on a Friday, Saturday, played on Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday? And the next weekend we ended up going to Belfast for 2 games? Is that really financially so depleting that they can't do that?
Tom, see in previous seasons, right? And I don't think it's ever happened with Dundee or Fife, that the two Scottish teams, and probably Glasgow as well, if you include them latterly, they've never really had to try. They've never had like what you would classify as a double header away or a triple header away, like what you're saying. Nottingham in previous years, Sheffield in previous years have came up here. They've played in Glasgow on the Friday. They've played in Fife on the Saturday, and they've played in Dundee on the Sunday.
Yep, I could live with that, that. But that I think the players would love it, or at least live with it. And is that bad? It's just, sorry, I'm caught up with this. But is that so bad that? And I just think, they don't pretend that we have a Department of Player Safety if they allow this crap, because we have a good league, like the quality of the league and the players, 15 imports. When they play in this league, it's on a level of any of those leagues I've coached. I'm talking the German league, the DEL, the Swiss league, the Finnish league. Our teams, in my opinion, could compete against those teams, but not with this. It's like we're a professional league with an amateur schedule. The schedule, it's not like it used to be when it was. These games are more physical. There may not be the fighting in it that there once was, but you can't play 3 games in 4 days. I can see us coming on a weekend and playing 3 games, bang, bang, bang. But then you got 5 days to recover. There's no recovery time. And I've studied exercise physiology, and I understand that stuff. And and I've seen it. Even in the NHL, when I coached in the NHL, you might play 2 games, but you're flying from one place to another in a couple hours, 3 hours or something like that. There's no 15-hour down and back bus trips. And I just think that's the one thing that bothers me about the league. I think the league quality, I love going into Glasgow and the different, I'm just thinking that the big teams like Glasgow and Sheffield and the presentation and the crowds are really top notch. But they need to run the league like it's top notch in order to get the total respect from the rest of the hockey world. That's how I would put it, because they run it in an amateur way, and it's a professional league. You don't see that like the Swiss league's a quality league. You don't see them play any 3 games, and the country's small. They can play the odd back-to-back game, but then they don't play for another 5 days, so to speak. Like, it's not. And I haven't even talked about. I only talked about when I'm ranting a bit, but I talked to you about early November, the 3 games in 5 days. Well, how about the 14? Hold it now. 14 games in 28 days that we had in December. Think about that. Let me say that again. 14, and I don't think Dundee was in. We had a couple of those Challenge Cup games in there, but we played 14 games in 29 days. Figure that one, guys. That's unheard of.
Because
we lost our goalie. Coach,
I was going to say that you lost Shane during that period as well. But
yes, we did.
As a coach, it doesn't allow you to work with your players, because you've got a game, they've got 1 or 2 rest days, they might get a skate, and then it's bang, we're into another game again.
Oh yeah, there's no practice at all, and the preparation, but all in all, it's the lack of recovery. So you're playing, and who gets cheated? The players get cheated. Players get cheated, the fans, because the players aren't rested properly. So they're just fatigued and they're out there, and I think that's unfair. Another thing, and I just don't know where it's coming from. They say, "Oh, we've always done it this way." Well, it's time to always maybe do something different and do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
So that really bothers me. And when I talk about my season, and I do have to go to the bathroom here in a minute, but when I talk about the season, guys, it's just we went through. I found that month of December practically killed us, and that trip, those three games in 5 nights with 50-hour plus on the bus, that really took a lot out of our people. It's like, but other than that, when we're healthy and rested, it's like Dundee. We compete with everybody.
So, Coach, as you were saying, obviously, your season so far, probably one of your biggest highlights. You've had some very good comeback wins on the road, down in Coventry, for example. But we touched on it a little bit earlier. Probably the biggest win so far for you guys was on Saturday night at home against the Steelers. As myself and Senior keep saying every week, I think they are an absolute shoo-in to win the league. They're probably the best team by far. How was that for you at the weekend? Obviously, you won the first game. Very good competitive game on Sunday as well, but losing 6-4. What was your reaction to the weekend?
Well, I'll throw a question back at you guys. What is the team that wins the champ? Who do you consider to be the team to win the championship? The team that finishes in first place, or the team that wins the playoff round?
Me personally, I think it's the playoffs.
Good.
I think it's the playoffs.
Yeah. How about you, Junior?
We're always a playoff. People.
Well, I agree 100%. Yeah. And I think personally that once you hit the playoffs, I know it's a home and home. I was just I learned that today. And then for the Final Four weekend, that it's
you got
it's a
semi-final,
right?
Yeah. You got a semi-final on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And then if you win that, you're in the final on the Sunday.
Right. So if that's what we're saying is the champ, if that's the real champion in my hockey life, that is the champion.
Yeah.
Not where you finish regular season. It's how you finish in the playoff. And it's a 1-game shot. So that being the case, I'm not saying Sheffield's a shoe-in by any stretch. Like on 1 game, you've got, right now, you've got Belfast, you've got Guildford, you got Cardiff. Those are maybe the top 4. But I'm not going to say, hey, it could be Dundee. Like it could be Fife. Who knows? You get down there, and I think it's really wide open still. Sheffield have put together a heck of a team, and they've been on a roll, but they're beatable.
They're beatable.
Totally
agree.
Everybody's good. So I can't pick a team that's going to win. If I like that question though.
Yeah.
Who's going to win it? Who's the best? Who's going to win the championship? Wide open, as far as I'm concerned, because it comes down to you have to earn that right to get to that playoff weekend. That Final Four, and then once you get to that Final Four, 1-game showdown. I've been in a few of those in my life, and anything can happen.
And
anything.
In previous years, Dundee and Fife have came very close. Fife reached the Final Four. I think it was a very narrow defeat against Belfast. I think it might have been.
Right. Well, I know Fife got to the Challenge Cup final last year, so there's a good example of what can happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but I'd say she's wide open. That's how I look at it. I would not concede anything. Wouldn't concede the playoff spots. I wouldn't concede the championship. But in my mind, that's another thing. The league, I know it's a different environment, but almost every league in the world goes into a playoff format. And if I could get back, I would. I don't mean to shun tradition, but I would get rid of the Challenge Cup. I would extend. Maybe I might play that Challenge Cup as a not really too worried about it thing in September.
Preseason.
Yes.
What? Preseason.
Preseason.
100%. We said it for years.
Well, why doesn't anyone want to listen?
No fans like it. No fans like the Challenge Cup.
Well, the fans don't like it. The players don't like it. The coaches don't like it. I was looking at the scores, online the other day, and I'm saying, oh, gee, Glasgow are playing Guildford, I think.
Yeah.
And somebody said, yeah, that's a Challenge Cup game.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, what the heck are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, everybody's focused on battling every night, and now they're just playing that challenge. Like, it makes no sense to me.
I know.
No.
Like, the other 999 countries can't be all wrong, can they?
No, I wouldn't
one
think so.
country, the UK does it this way, but the rest of the hockey world can't be all wrong.
Yeah.
Look at the NHL. The NHL, they play 2 months of playoffs anyway. It's an event. It's an event.
Yep.
And the fans come out and they love it. Just think if it ever got to be Dundee and Fife playing against each other, Dundee and Glasgow playing against each other in the semifinals, the best 4 out of 7 or 3 out of 5. Imagine they wouldn't have an arena big enough to hold everyone.
No. And we did it. We did it at one point in the old British National League. The semi-finals were a best of 3, and the final ended up being a best of 5.
That's good. Yeah.
And they did it for 1 year. They did it 1 year, and then that league dissolved because the teams started making the step up to the Elite League. Dundee and Fife dropped down to the local Scottish League. And they never ever did it again.
Well, I just think it's kind of, I'm an outsider looking in, and these are the things that jump at me, that I see that there's a lot of room for growth, a lot of room for various reasons, but mostly to bring it up with everybody, all the other quality leagues. And I just think the product on the ice is at a high enough level that why don't we surround ourselves with administrative decisions that are at the same level. That's what I see. And I'm just being honest.
You're not the only one, Coach. You're not the only one.
Yeah. So that's really those are my feelings. But as far as, this year goes, that December was tough on us. And we played, I think, most games in the league for whatever reason. And then we lost our goalie in midstream. And because of the process to get another goalie in, that felt like a year. But we were finally able to make that change. And, our guy, Andy Little, made a valiant effort and did his best. And he won a big game for us against Glasgow. But that game, everybody against Dundee, our last time in there, was just a very forgettable game.
Yeah. And I think, you know what, Coach, very, very rarely will you hear a Dundee fan say this. But I think a lot of Dundee fans felt for Fife that night. There was a lot of injuries. There was a guy who's been, and it's no discredit to him, but the title of the backup goalie. There's a guy who's a backup goalie who doesn't get a lot of ice time because of how good Shane Owen is. And a lot of fans did feel for Fife that night because it was just, I think everyone knew it was.
Certainly felt for young Andy. He was.
Oh yeah.
He was up against it.
Oh yeah, and then I think then it was the next night I think we played Glasgow and he played really well and we won that game. I think that was how it went. Kind of so many games you forget, but bottom line is we ended up with a positive note, and Andy certainly did a great job for us on that last night. But that one in Fife was a very forgettable game, and certainly not the team that we are. And so, and looking ahead now, everybody's battling. I got to really take my hat off to Dundee because they've played really well. They didn't start out very well. But boy, they've really, their guys have done a great job over there.
Yeah.
So we know from our end, we have a big challenge ahead of us with our team.
Yeah. So
coming in there on Saturday.
Yeah, looking at it Saturday night. Obviously, you guys are in town in Dundee.
Yeah.
Just a little stat for you. So obviously, we've played each other twice in the Challenge Cup this year, and Fife obviously won both games. And then we've played 3 times in the league so far, and Dundee have won all 3 games. So it's going to be a tough affair. It usually is. Dundee Fife, it's always a close game. We do kind of forget the 10-1 game. It's one of those ones where it's a one-off.
That's a one-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've obviously we've obviously got our old friend Johan coming back to the rink on Saturday. Yeah. We hate to see him in those colours because he always does so well against us.
Yeah, he plays well. He finds a way to put it in. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he'll be there, and everybody else will be there too. So
he was one of the guys. He was one of the guys that came in mid-season, I think, for us last year, Coach. And I was actually surprised that he was not back this season. I really do like Johan Eriksson. I think he's a very clever player.
He's clever is a good way to describe him. Yeah, because he can make those little passes. He can finish. He's deadly in the shootout. He was deadly when we played. Who was it? Belfast. Not Belfast. In the Glasgow in the shootout. Yeah, he was deadly that night. Scored 2 goals. Basically won the game for us with his overtime.
Johan, if you give Johan an inch, he will score.
He will. That's his thing.
He is deadly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
High slot.
Yeah. So that's all good, guys. So anyway, we'll see you there on Sunday or Saturday night. And we're looking forward to it. And I find our schedule now is much better. We don't play any midweek games. We can recover. And I wish everybody in the league could do that. So it'd be more of an honest presentation of our play, of the players' skills and energy level, and be a lot better for the fans. So I think that's where we're maybe heading like that in the second half. But boy, there's some nights that I wanted to forget about just from the schedule in the first half. And I hope that changes moving forward. I really hope it does, because I'm not going to keep quiet about it. People want to ask me about it. I have to be honest with myself. They've got a lot of things that this league can do, I think, as far as for the players, do differently. Anyway, that's right. Okay, senior and junior, you guys have a nice night.
And Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Okay, and you guys have a great night.
We will see you Saturday with Smokies.
Yes, you will.
With Smokies.
Absolutely. Hey, you better come up with that Smoky. I'll be looking for it.
We will. Hey, I sit right behind you with the drum, so you won't miss us.
Perfect. Okay, Junior, I'll be looking for you for sure. All right.
Perfect. Thanks again,
Take
Coach.
care, guys.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers, then. Bye-bye.
So that was Fife Flyers head coach Tom Coolen. What a storyteller! What a storyteller!
He's one of these guys, right? I could sit and listen to experienced coaches like that, right? That have started all the way back at uni and then worked his way through. He's got to the show, and then he's now came into Europe, and he's continuing. Again, what? See if you had, I could listen to this guy all night. Honestly, he's just got one, and you know what, Junior? Fans, when fans listen to him, right, and he's been on other podcasts, right? But when people listen to him on podcasts and people listen to his after-match or post-match interviews, he talks so eloquently.
Yeah. So, right. We'll now start the show.
Now we'll start the show.
So first thing I do have is a massive shout out. Senior looks like he's frozen. I hope he's still here. So Senior is back. Just there, he did freeze a little bit and got kicked out.
I got kicked out for some. I think maybe Coach Coolen took on my Wi-Fi or something.
That'll be that Council Wi-Fi for Fife.
That's what it'll be. Yeah.
So yeah, sorry, I was saying a big shout out to start this part. Goes to none other than the voice of the Dundee Stars in Mr. Andy McCartney. And I'm calling him Andy because people always say Andrew. It's no Andrew. Yeah. He'll never be known as Andrew McCartney. It's Andy Mack.
Andy us. Yeah,
Andy Mack. So listen, a massive shout out to Andy Mack for his tribute to this week's titled show. The big pap himself from Section C, Mike Donnelly. Andy did an absolute tremendous job. You heard his voice going a couple of times, which made us go even worse because we were already bawling our eyes out. Andy, honestly, from the whole of Section C, and I could probably speak for the whole fan base, that it was absolutely an amazing tribute. I spoke to Rachel today as well, and she had also said that it was so warm and loving, the tribute, that they were all grateful for it. So again, hats off to you, Andy Mack. Absolutely tremendous. It's a few you've done now this season, and I hope that's the last one for you, because I know how tough it's been all season. But yeah,
2024 could just get the fuck right now, I'll tell you.
But yeah, again, massive shout out to Andy Mack for a tremendous job on Sunday night in that tribute. And also,
I've got on you go. You go.
You might be able to say I was going to say, and a massive shout out to Stars TV as well. On the highlights package, they left that tribute in there, and they even put in the full minutes applause during the game that we did, as well as even letting us have the wee rendition of "Do You Know Where Hell Is," which was probably the loudest that I've ever heard it in the ring.
Brilliant.
Even playing Fife.
Really good. It was really good. I know.
But yeah,
I done the worst thing. I was obviously I'm on earlys this week, and I done the worst thing, and I watched it in work.
I watched it today at my desk.
I should never have watched it in my work because it just got us going again.
Shannon went to and had to stop.
Yeah. But my shout out is to Billy McGuinness, because the banner that Billy organised, however he done it in such short notice, in memory of Mike, was fantastic, and it was good to see the banner there. And I'm hoping that Billy brings it every game, and it sits here all the time. Certainly for this season, anyway. Even when we were the "Do You Know Where Hell Is?" Ingalls is sitting on the bench. He's got the stick going. So the minute's applause at the 43rd minute from everybody. It just goes to show how much of a top guy Mike was, and how much he was loved by everybody at the ice rink. He'll be sadly missed. Missed.
Definitely. We did have a pap counter on Sunday night.
Junior, you maybe need to explain what we're speaking about here, right? Because people will be like, wait a minute, what's going on with this pap thing?
So Mike's favourite insult was calling somebody a pap.
A pap.
A pap. A tit, basically. So on Sunday night, that was the first shout that somebody was a pap. And then someone else shouted it, and someone else shouted it. And I said to Jono, who was there, that listen, we're going to need an independent adjudicator doing the counting here to see how many times it's shouted in the game. I think Margaret McFergo used her quota in the space of a minute. I think she shouted about 25 times in a minute. But the other thing was, it was also great to see so many long time missed faces for the rink.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people there that haven't been for a while that turned up again just for Mike. And that's all it was for. But yeah, listen, again, like you said, you'll be sadly missed. But hats off to everyone. Even Struan Davey getting the picture of the banner and stuff with the crowd in it. Absolutely tremendous.
And everyone at the club, again, we spoke about Andy, the Stars TV, and what the club, you know, meeting with Rachel and the kids before the game and everything. Tremendous. Well done to everybody for what they've done for Micah. Yeah.
There is a call out this week, and the call out, senior, is you. So, as we do before we get a guest on the show, everyone, I do a notes, and I start the notes, and I put questions in, and I put like what we're going to talk about and stuff, and I share it with Senior. We share it through our notes on our iPhones, and I went into it just before I came on the show, and I went into it, and I see that Senior's edited it, and I was like, what's he put in? He's put his good, the bad, and the ugly. Fine, I scroll down, and there is this week's Who Am I? Now, to be completely honest, I'm raging I told him, because I would have got 4 points, because I would have got it on the second guess, because he's the only Boston College player I ever knew for the Stars. However, I was the good son, and I told him that I seen it. So, when we come to Junior versus Senior this week, Senior's back in the hot seat. We're doing 2 weeks of him. But Senior, because you're a fucking dafty,
you just made the list.
You just made the list. So,
right, listen, no, I'll tell you though. Like, I'm glad I did fuck up, because if you were telling me you were going to get it so early, like I'm thinking, nah, he's not going to get it. And I'm thinking the second, well, you obviously seen the clues. I'm thinking when it hits the sort of this, when he played for the Stars, and I think I had a bit, and I can't mind if I'd left it, and I know
wore number 6.
Where he wore number 6, but he was the guy that was always left out.
Yeah.
When we were carrying an import, and we always thought that was bullshit.
Yeah, he was
a D-man. He was a fantastic D-man, but I'll tell you, he could play forward as well.
Yeah.
But what freaked me out was when I looked at the elite prospects, right? And this will give it away to everybody, where he's got 3 nephews all playing in the NHL.
Yeah.
None other than Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes, and the other Hughes.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh my God, I knew you were going to say that.
So I know two are with the New Jersey Devils, and I know that Quinn's with the Vancouver Canucks. The player this week was Marty Hughes, but I absolutely blew my mind who his nephews were, because I did not know that.
Everyone forgets about Luke.
That's what it is. Luke Hughes.
Yeah. So, right, moving on. Let's get cracking on with the rest of the show. So it is the 51 Club sponsored game review. So we were away to the Cardiff Devils on Saturday night. It was a little bit of a slow start for the Stars. Josh Batch at 4:14, Joey Martin at 11:53 on the power play, and Justin Crandall at 13:01 gave Devils a 3-0 lead. Anthony Rinaldi, assisted by Phelan and Elmer at 19:40, brought it back to 3-1 end of the first. James Phelan, the man himself, assisted by Mackay and Britton 10 seconds into the second period, made it 3-2. Tyler Bush at 31:41, Jamie Arniel at 32:52, Carter Johnson then pulled one back for the Stars, assisted by Bowden and Dow at 33.06. Made it 5-3. End of the second. Is it Wild? Wild?
Wild.
Is it Wild? Is that how he's pronouncing it? Bode Wild at 52.36.
Bode or Bodie.
Yeah. Carter Johnson got his second, assisted by Elmer and Bowden at 54.42. And then Justin Crandall with an empty net goal at 58.44, giving the Devils a 7-4 victory. I don't think the defences and the goalies really played much that game.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
I can't mind. Well, we never predicted, did we? But I think the scoreline flattered them.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Maybe over the course of the game, they probably deserved to win. This is Cardiff. But no better score of 7-4.
No.
I think the game will always be, for me, there's two talking points. One is Josh Britton's hatred of the Cardiff Devils kicks in again.
Joshua.
He fucking hates the Cardiff Devils, does Big Josh, does he?
There's something there, eh? Absolutely something there.
He is fucking
games
itching.
now.
Every time we play them, he is itching to knock somebody's fucking head off.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Sean Allen hit, which then led to a suspension. That's a talking point. I just wish, and I spoke about it when we spoke at the weekend there, when Britton fought with Riley Brandt, right? I think Josh went after him because I think Brandt went into, I think it was Johnny Ming on the boards. And Sean Allen standing there. And that was the disappointing thing for me. I think Sean had the opportunity to go and lay a marker down there at that point. Josh done it, which is fair enough. You know, I'll never. It's a young Brit laddie that's been planted into the boards by somebody who does run about charging and boarding and just being a wee dick, being honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Josh went, but for me, he skated past Sean. Sean allowed him to skate past, and then it was Josh that went for him.
Yeah.
I would have preferred if Sean done it and really gave him a fucking hammering for it.
Yeah. Definitely. But again, is it the whole, you know, you've got, I can't remember when I was watching it. I think it was Bissonnette was speaking about it recently, about heavyweights and fighting. You know, if you're not a heavyweight, if you are a heavyweight, you don't go with someone who's not a heavyweight. And let's be honest, Riley Brandt's probably not a heavyweight fighter. You know, he's not a big boy. He's quite short and stumpy.
He's a dick.
I know, but is that the code? You know, Josh Britton's went from, Josh isn't really a fighter. He's a bigger guy. He's not really a fighter. He can handle himself by all means, but could it have been a code? The code, I don't know.
I don't know.
I would have liked to have seen Alan kick his head in though.
The only thing, the only thing that I thought about that why Sean maybe didn't do it, right, is so when Josh went for him, right, if you look at it, I'm surprised that Josh didn't get the 2+10 for instigating.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know.
Now, I'm just wondering, see if Sean goes for him. Sean's getting that 2+10. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Absolutely guaranteed.
Yeah. Did you even see the refs clapping after it?
No.
After the fight, the referee skated away, giving like that to them. Give a wee clap.
I wasn't really. It was a grappling. There was a few punches thrown.
He got a few good punches in. Brandt got fuck all in. But I think the scoreline flattered Cardiff. I think, you know, that 3-0 quick start for them killed the game, I think, for us. Trying to play catch up.
As Mark always says, he will not use travel as an excuse. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't go on the radar we Stars this year about travel. And I know that Coach Coolen has obviously got concerns about the travel schedule for Fife. I don't know if ours is any better, any worse, similar. But I think one good thing that Mark Lefebvre says is, we're not listening to it.
Yeah,
we're not listening to it. We're just whatever we've got to do, we just go and do it. We've got a job to do, and it's as simple as that.
Obviously, we did travel back up the road that night. And I think Mark actually said that in his post game on Sunday was they got back at 7 in the morning, I think, from Cardiff, to then go and play the Nottingham Panthers on Sunday night. Ryan Valentini got us ahead for the end of the first period, assisted by Doubt and Harms on the power play at 16:25. Spencer Nass with his first of the evening, assisted by Ingalls and Valentini, 25:59. Nottingham Panthers pull one back through Didrik Henbrandt at 28:40. Spencer Nass regained that 2-goal lead, assisted by Valentini and Harms at 37:50. End of the second period. Then up he steps Johnny McBean at 52:27, assisted by Tommy Paratino and Craig Garrigan. And then the final goal from Anthony Ronaldo, assisted by Moore. And I didn't see this at the time. Johnny McBean with the assist on that one as well, giving the Star 5-1, well-deserved 5-1 victory.
Yeah, it wasn't announced as Johnny getting an assist. It was just, I think it was Ronaldo from Moorsey, and that was it.
Yeah.
But
I didn't see it
fully
either.
deserved. You know what? It's difficult to be critical. I think it's difficult to be critical of the Nottingham Panthers. These guys have went through a lot, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they're turning up every week, and unfortunately for them, they're losing nearly every game now. It is a struggle for them. However, the alternative could have been they could have just said, "Yep, that's it. We're not playing the rest of the season now."
Yeah.
And it fucks up the whole league, you know.
Yeah.
They were always, even at 2-0, they were still hanging about, and then they got the 2-1, and I think once we got 3-1 up, then I think that was them. I think they've just been off the ice too long, and teams are ahead of them now by a good few weeks now. They might still come good. You heard what Coach Coolen said. It's about the playoffs. Nottingham qualify for the playoffs. You just don't know. They might suddenly just turn up.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but you know what? You could only play what's in front of you, and
definitely
we were very professional in what we'd done, and I thought it was a good performance. It was a good performance.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, say they are obviously a hurting team, but again, I just don't see anything really coming from that team at all.
I wouldn't think so, Junior. I think if it does happen, it could be later on in the season, but by that time, maybe other teams have pulled away from them. They might be out the sort of the seedings for the playoffs by that time. But you know what? Every one of them just kept going, and it was just they looked a tired team.
Yeah,
when
they
it
do
got to the end of the game, you know.
So
but I thought, I'll tell you, the line of Paratino, Garrigan, and McBean, I thought played very well.
Yeah. Obviously, no Sean Allen due to suspension. The first of these two games, which obviously resulted in Paratino back in the lineup after missing Saturday night's game, being a healthy scratch. Spencer Nass obviously got man of the match. Senior, who was your man of the match?
It's Junior. It's a difficult one for me because I thought there was a lot of good performances. I thought Nass played well. I thought that line, the one line that we've got, played well. We scored some good goals, but you know what? Since he got an assist on that fifth goal as well, so he had 1+1. I'm going to go for Johnny McBean.
Yep. To be honest, I was torn between two. One of them being Brendan Harms. I thought Harms was outstanding. Again, not massive point production necessarily in the game, but the stuff he does in that around the boards, around the goal. He's a wee shite. He gets stuck in. And then when he was a wee dick, he was a wee dick on Sunday. Valentini then got involved to be a wee bit of a dick, which I absolutely loved to see. Loved that. But I am with you. And McBean for me.
Yeah. Never. You're right. Valentini picks up his first penalty against Cardiff for the whole season and then nearly starts a stramash.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you, we Junior, how many times did we hear this saying last season, but it's now really coming into play this season? Team toughness.
Yeah.
That's team toughness.
Yeah. So that does result in the league table looking like this now. Stars are down to 6th on 33 points through 31 games. So 15 wins so far this season. Nottingham Panthers still bottom of the league, 22 points through 26 games. Coach Coolen's Fife Flyers on 25 points through 32. Manchester and Glasgow level on points, 28 points. Obviously, us in 6th. Coventry, 5th on 35. Guildford, 4th on 37, with Cardiff in 3rd, also 37. Above them, by a point, the Belfast Giants, slowly creeping back up the table. But the Sheffield Steelers absolutely running away at the top of the league, 51 points through 29 games. Biggest shout out for me, though, Senior, does have to go to these two.
Yeah.
Ryan Valentini, top point scorer and outright top point scorer now. 38 points through 30 games, 17 goals and 21 assists. You then look at your top goal scorer in Spencer Nass, who's, again, outright goal scorer by 4 goals now. 22 goals and 13 assists in 31 games, making him tied second in points with 35. Again, I'm going to keep looking at it. Tied 6th, Brendan Harms, 30 points in 31 games. Dryden Dow in 7th with 29 points through 31 games.
That's a great effort, and I'll tell you, the club need to get the boys signed up now. I know that. I'll tell you,
or at least a 2-year contract.
Yeah, I know that Glasgow have announced Bellick and the Rat being back next season already. However, we all know contracts in the Elite League mean fuck all, right?
Oh,
you just hand in your 2 weeks' notice and you go away, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to get certainly these 3, Dryden, maybe a couple of others, but certainly the first line in Dryden, all signed up for next season. And then if they do decide, you know what, we're going to try it elsewhere, at least get it in the contract. You didn't go to anybody else in the EIHL. Go and try someplace else. We will allow you to take that opportunity.
Yeah.
Get them signed up now,
Yeah. So Senior, it does bring us on to it is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. So the good, I've got a couple of things for the good. And the one is, and I did say it the other week, Junior, right? I'm going to try and get bounce back ability in every episode we do, right? So we've got bounce back ability. 7-4 for Cardiff. Bounce back ability, maybe the Panthers 5-1. Especially after a long journey down, journey back. I know that Mark, I've touched on it. Mark doesn't go with travel. I do. It's a shit journey. But also, and this ain't maybe tops it, I thought Craig Moore had his best game for the Stars all season on Sunday night against Nottingham. I don't know if he's went out to prove a point to the Nottingham organisation or if he's maybe went out because I do think Craig gets unharshly treated sometimes on social media. And I don't know if he's maybe read some of the comments and went, right, here we go then, lads. Here's what I could do. I thought he played really well on Sunday.
Yeah, he was good.
So that's the good. The bad, it's another suspension,
Yeah,
we've got to be more disciplined, and unfortunately, it just seems to be two guys. If it's no Big Chris, it's Sean, and if it's no Sean, it's Big Chris. And you know what? I think Sean will be a miss on Saturday against Fife, because they've signed that. Is it Drake Pillin or Drake Pylon?
Pylon.
And he seems to be a wee bit of a loose cannon. No, I think he could be. And
listen,
I think it maybe needed somebody to Sean to put him in his place. But
listen,
we'll see how it goes. But
Big Joshua's there. Big Mackay's there.
I'd like to hope so, but yeah, that's the bad. It's another suspension. It does mean that it makes the coach's decision a lot easier. He doesn't hate to drop anybody. He's not got to scratch anybody from the lineup because Sean's already out. The ugly, and it's not really. It is a Stars sort of related thing, but it's and we touched on it. Coach Coolen touched on it again. Is Dops as well, right? But for me, it's the inconsistency of handing out suspensions. Sean's suspension, me personally, I think it is. I think it's a reckless hit. 2 games, maybe 1 game, probably. And then you watch the highlights from, is it Belfast and
Coventry?
Is it Coventry?
It's in the Skydome. The hit that's not penalised.
No, I think it was it no Belfast and Guildford or something? But anyway, Belfast were involved. Whatever. Belfast, Nottingham. That's what it was, because Nottingham got bumped for the member. Mm-hmm. Belfast, Nottingham, and there's a worse hit than Allen's. And then as soon as he does the hit, he throws the gloves down and then grabs somebody and starts fighting them as well. And I'm thinking, you've allowed this hit to go.
Yep.
And I just didn't see the consistency. When it certainly comes to the dopes, as we really call them, not the dops. Yeah. So that's it. That's my good, my bad, the ugly. Craig Moore, another suspension and inconsistent dopes.
Does take us on to the Craig Niche Decorators sponsored game preview. So we've already kind of touched on the Fife home game with Coach Coolen. Obviously, Johan Eriksson. Coach Coolen pointed out the 2 guys that I'm always fearful of is Lajeunesse and Osterberg. And they are their top 3 point scorers this year. So it will be a very, very tough game against the Flyers, regardless of where they're sitting in the league. They're only 8 points behind us, I think it is. So again, few games lose, they win a few games, they're right back in it and amongst it with 5th and 6th place again. So tough game. Flyers will be coming over in their numbers, I would assume. It's a Saturday night game, so I think they will come over. Then we're away to Sheffield again on the Sunday. So again, Steelers looking at, I had a look at their stats, and this is just, we go on about, Valentini, Nass, Harms, and Dow. Steelers have 3 players tied in 8th for top points, 2 players tied in 9th, 1 player is tied 6th with Brendan Harms, and obviously Watling is tied in 2nd place with Nass. So 7 players in the top 10 for points scored. Unreal.
Guys, the Fife game, I think they'll be hurt after getting bumped 10-1 for us, right?
Yeah.
They will be coming across to prove that only happened because they had a young Brit netminder in the goal and we took our chances really well.
Yeah.
We need to be on top form to beat them, guaranteed. And if we are not, and if we don't play a 60-minute game, and it's happened before, they will punish us.
Yeah.
They are lightning fast. And then Sheffield, I didn't like the saying, but it's like a freebie. If you go into Sheffield and take someone, or at least compete against them and hope that you get someone, that's all you can ask for. Flyers proved that. Flyers went into Sheffield and scored 4. Okay, they still got beat, but there's opportunities against them. I think a bonus is we've not got any travelling on Saturday. We're at home to Fife, and then we're down to Sheffield on the Sunday. So it's really just one bus journey, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Predictions.
I'm going to say we'll beat Flyers 5-3. And I think there might be an empty netter in there. I'm hoping that it's Kevin Carrott does it. But the Sheffield game, I'm going to go the same as what happened the last time. I think it might be 4-5-1. 5-1 Steelers.
5-1. Okay, so I've went with 4-3 Stars on Saturday and 6-2 Steelers on Sunday. So,
okay,
Senior.
Yeah.
It's time.
You know what, fellas? It's fight night.
Junior versus Senior. The gloves are off. So the gloves are off, and the gloves of sponsored Junior versus Senior. I don't know if Senior is still here just now because it looks like he's frozen on the screen again, and I think he has. And we have Senior back again.
Fuck, see this fucking.
I've already. It's not the weather. It's your fucking Wi-Fi. I've told you about it numerous times over the last season. Right. So gloves off. Sponsored Junior versus Senior. Senior. I'm changing it up a bit tonight because
because you cheated. You read the notes.
So I have a list of names here. Okay.
Okay.
I am going to give you a minute. A minute? Yeah, a minute.
Well, it depends on what of the day first.
To name, right?
Right.
5 players, okay?
Right.
Who wore a specific jersey number.
Oh,
all right? So there is 2. There is 13 of these players in the whole of the Stars' time, okay? 13 players wore this number, right?
Oh, fuck.
All you need to do is get 5 to get your maximum 5 points, right? You'll get a point for every player. You should. Okay. You're going to get at least 2.
Get 1.
You're going to get at least 2, okay?
Right.
The number is, and as soon as I say the number, I'm pressing start, right?
Oh, fuck.
The number is 11.
Chris Ingles.
1.
That's probably about
it. Oh, you know a couple more. You've mentioned them over the last few weeks. That's what got me thinking about this.
Jack McClellan.
No. You know, 40 seconds left.
Ah, fuck, I've never gotten that. Fucking number 11. The only number, get what? Chris Ingles is the only in my head that's wore 11.
Oh, it's tremendous.
Oh, my God. Sammy Ryanen. Mike Worrell.
No.
Billy Bagrin.
No.
I'm just shouting at names.
You got 15 seconds.
I'm just shouting at names. Chris Ingles.
You only get 1 point for Chris Ingles. Oh, Mama Betty's going to be raging on this one. 4,
so it's no Matt White then.
3, 2, 1. Wow. Right. So for everyone shouting at your screens, these are your 13 players. You got Chris Ingles. Tommaso Traversa.
Fuck off. Tommaso Traversa.
Curtis Lineweber.
Okay, I'll accept that, but nah.
Andres Persson.
Piss off.
The guy you did on Junior versus Senior a couple of weeks ago, Jarrett Conkle. Chris Phillips.
Oh, fuck.
Jeff Marshall.
How many games did he wear 11? He wore 11 about fucking once.
2 seasons because Tam wore 7.
Not having that.
Fraser McEachran.
Oh my God. Some of
Damon
these viewers only. Some of these people will not even heard of these players.
Damon Rycroft, Mark Scott, playoff winner.
Scott. Yeah.
Chris Petrie. Paul Sample.
No having this.
And the last one, Nate Leslie.
No having that. No, I'm sorry, Junior.
There's
like you've went
players you picked for.
You've went right. Listen, I keep telling you, right? You ask me who played last week, I couldn't tell you. And you're asking me to remember 13 players that maybe wore number 11. You've went right back to the first season with Nate Leslie.
Well, I was giving you a better chance.
Yeah,
anyway.
That. I got one.
Right. Yeah, you got one. So congratulations. Senior has got 1 point on the board now.
Yeah,
you know what, Senior? Just because you've got one, I'm going to play it for you.
He was even lucky I got that.
He's got the fanfare. So, Slimming World with Stella sponsored on this day. Not too much happened, to be honest with you, Senior. On this day in 1989, born was Taylor Dickin. He was poor. He was good for us and poor for us. Had a leaver in 2012. And again, someone that you did do on Junior versus Senior when he signed for the Ontario Reign, Alan Mazur.
All right. Okay.
And 2 games on this day. 2016 was an away loss at the Braehead, Paisley, Motherwell, Wishaw, North Renfrewshire, North Lanarkshire, South Lanarkshire, Rutherglen,
Bishop Briggs,
Prestwick Airport, Glasgow Clan. We lost 4-2 there. And in 2022, we had a home win against the Sheffield Steelers by 3-2. Goals from Sebastian Bengtsson, Craig Garrigan, and Charlie Combs. In front of a whopping record crowd of 200 people.
Oh, was that the COVID?
One of the COVID games.
Right. Oh, wow.
So, yeah, indeed. The last thing for me, Senior, before we wrap up the show, is the Dundee Stars OSC are running a bus to Manchester on the 17th of February. It's not really to Manchester, it's to Altrincham, because they're not really Manchester.
It's like the Glasgow plan, is it? You're not going to Glasgow, you're going to Braehead.
Exactly. You're pretty much a Paisley. So OSC running a bus. It is £60 for an adult, £55 for a concession/child. Non-members are an additional £10. They're leaving Dundee at 11 a.m. They're having a 1-hour stop in Gretna, just in case anybody wants to get married. And then returning right after the match. So that does include your ticket as well. So bus and ticket. If you are interested, get in touch with the OSC page on Facebook or give our Liz, Mama Betty, a shout at the table on Saturday. Or you could just bother the life out of her and private message her on Facebook as well. That's always fun. We like to bother the life out of her. So if you're wanting to go, as I say, £60 for an adult who's a member, £55 for concession or child. If you're not a member, throw an extra tenner onto that. To be honest, £70 for your bus and ticket to Manchester is not too shabby.
No, it's quite decent, eh? Well done, Mama Betty.
Well done, Mama Betty. That is us. It's a long episode this week because we had a guest and we had numerous cutouts. It's been a bit of a shit show, this one.
Oh, it's going to be a fucking laugh listening to this, I'll tell you.
Oh, I know. I can't wait to watch the YouTube video version of this, especially having to cut certain bits out. I'll need to actually edit some bits out. But again, thank you so much to our special guest, Fife Flyers head coach, Tom Coolen. Senior, it was a tough couple of weeks. But as we've all said, he would not want us to dwell on all of this. He certainly wouldn't want a fuss made about it all, because that's the stubborn person that he was.
Yeah.
But we've already said it. Mike, you'll be sadly missed by absolutely everyone in that rank. Obviously we're good friends with Rachel and that, but our thoughts are still all with the family, and everyone else out with the ice hockey family as well. The Fairmuir boys and also United supporters and that as well. But on that note, it's a derby game on Saturday, and I'll tell you now, Senior, I certainly know where hell is.
Yeah.
Have a good week, and we'll see you on Saturday.